try and not use your accent, because like when I'm with you guys, I somehow like start talking like I'm from the States.
Boomhauer.
Yeah.
That's Boomhauer.
And I'm here for a festival, and I'm a tattoo artist.
Welcome to Deathless Tattoos. My name is Tyler Hoare. I tattoo tribals, butterflies, and dragons. Because I've been tattooing since the 90s, I have a lot of old school tricks. A lot of these kids, they want to use these old school tricks. One of my favorites is using dog shampoo as stencil stuff. Here in Canada, it gets very cold, so I often put mittens over my gloves. To keep sterile, I put sterilized gloves under my mittens. What's cool about using mittens over your gloves is that you can just go ahead and wipe. You don't need Scott towels. It's actually environmentally friendly. Once again today, we did 2 boys, 1 cowboy. It's me and Sam's favorite. So if you want to get tattooed by us, shoot us a message on Instagram. We probably won't tattoo you because your idea is probably dumb as hell. Sorry, I can't see anything. These woke tattooers don't know nothing. Catch us this summer. We'll be tattooing at all the campings in the area.
I mean, I'm just a regular guy from Canada.
You're Blessed by a Broken Heart. You're the bass player, the only remaining original member, which is pretty cool. You said that last night. I didn't like click to that. You know, I don't like keep it on my log, but that's pretty cool. When did Bless start?
It was, well, it actually, like, I was in a punk band, and it kind of like throughout high school, and then I was like, half of that band left and half of them stayed with me, and it was like in the late 90s, well, mid 90s and then late 90s, and then that was when, like, I mean, most people that were listening to punk and like harder hardcore punk, that kind of went into the whole hardcore scene in the late 90s, and then it became what the, like, you know, what you see, like metalcore and all that stuff kind of transitioned from punk to and metal and everything coming together and then going into that direction. So it was like I was in a punk band, half the band stayed with me, and then we just kind of got heavier and heavier, and then like we were putting like breakdowns in our songs, and it became what Blessed kind of was. But then I changed up members and everything, so there was no like specific like date where like this is where we started, but like it actually, like, we had a singer that ended up like getting with my girlfriend at the time, and so he actually left the band and got engaged to my girlfriend that I was with for like 7 years. And then I was at a show, and my friend was like, oh, this guy's in the same situation as you. Like, my old singer was at the show with my ex-girlfriend, and this other guy was at the show, and his ex-girlfriend was there with her new boyfriend, and we were just sitting there bummed out, like. And they were like, you guys should meet and talk. And we were like, yeah. As a joke, I was like, we should make a band together. So and he was like, yeah. And he added me on MSN, and like, and I was like, you could be the bass player. Cause like I was playing guitar at the time. Cause I was like, oh, the bass player doesn't need to know how to do anything. Cause like you just play notes. Cause I was like, you play anything? He's like, no. I was like, oh, you could be the bass player. And then so he had me on MSN, and I was like actually, like, we have no singer now. I was like, can you sing? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, so I was like, send me some like vocal recordings of you screaming. And like, he sent me a bunch of stuff, and it was horrible. And then like he sent me one, and I was like, whoa, that was actually really good. So I got him to come to like a practice, and he was super shy, and so we put the mic, and he pulled it out of the room, and like we're all standing there like just playing breakdowns, and my drummer and everyone's like, what's going on here? Like, and he's trying to scream, and like it wasn't coming out, and then all of a sudden it just came out, and then we were like, whoa, that was amazing. And then so we got him as the singer, and the name actually came from both of us kind of discussing like our ex-girlfriends, and it was kind of like our whole lives were these girls, and then it just kind of, and you know how it was. I mean, I don't know if you guys, how old you guys are actually, so I don't know if you do know how it was, but like that's when like the whole like emo like late 90s was like when, you know, emo started, but it wasn't what people think emo is today. Like it was all these hardcore bands that like had guys doing acoustic stuff, and like it came from like the hardcore scene, and so all like the hardcore bands have had these like long poetic names, you know. So like when people hear that now, they're like, oh, it's an emo band, but like it wasn't. That's what like the hardcore scene was like, you know, they wanted these like long poetic names. So we were like kind of like we were blessed by our broken hearts, like, you know, as in like our life kept going on, and here we are today, you know, after, you know,
Yeah.
do you believe in life after love, you know, that kind of thing. When we started, it was like I said, it was when all those like all the scene like hardcore bands started, like I think we were talking about the other day, like Poison the Well, It Dies Today, and all that like early 2000 sound was like came from that. And then it was funny because we like in the first album, like we recorded in 2002, and I already like was dressed in kind of 80s, and like I was in the hardcore scene, but obviously I was born in the 80s, so like I grew up listening to like all the hair metal bands, and it just kind of felt natural for me to like include that in the music, which like at the time no one was doing that at all. And like it kind of started where I wanted the drums to sound heavier, and I loved like the electric kind of sound of drums like from the 80s, and it all kind of started as a joke where I was like, yo, can you, and we recorded that album on tape. Mm-hmm. So it was all analog. So after we recorded it, I was like, can you go in and literally like, you know, drop dots on each hit, and then switch those to like electric drums. And the dude was like, what? He's like, we just got like this great sound of these like, and we recorded it all on tape. And I was like, no, I want it. I want like these big like Phil Collins drums. And just it happened as a joke. We just did this like at the end of the song. We just kind of did this like bam, 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 like 80s kind of break, and my friend was there, like, and he, I don't know, for some reason he just kind of started singing like super high, like and we're like, go in the booth and do that, and we got him to go in and sing this little bit, like, and then like none of us were like good enough guitarists to like shred or do any like kind of lead, but like our keyboardist was like, oh, give me the guitar, I'll do a little lead. And like he did this like little mini lead that like it wasn't shred at all, but like for us at that time, like all we were doing was just breakdowns, right?
Yeah.
And we had this little guitar lead, and it just kind of sparked like wow, like imagine if we had like a real guitarist that can like actually play guitar and like do like play stuff. So what happened was I was on bass, and we were kind of having some problems with the bass player. I was on bass. I was on guitar. I mean, what I'm saying. I was on guitar, and we were having some problems with the bassist at the time. Like, So we were like, well, screw it, I'll go on bass because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a great musician. I like at the time I was like playing, breakdowns, but I was like, I'm gonna sacrifice my guitar spot to find a guitarist, and I'm gonna go on bass. So we put out at the time we were like on MySpace. This is like maybe 2005. We started in like 2002, and we did the first record, and then it came out like maybe 2003, 4 maybe, and then so we put out a post on MySpace looking for a shred guitarist. So so Sean, who's now in the band, was in New York, and at the time he was doing these little like recordings and putting them on MySpace, and he thought he had a lot of plays. He had like maybe like 50 plays here, and so he decided to. He was like wondering like if he was getting a lot of plays, so he decided to look up the top, like the people that had the most plays. And at the time in 2005, we were the biggest band on MySpace. Like it was us, and then like System of a Down was like under us.
Damn.
So we had the most plays like in the metal section on MySpace. So he looked us up, and the first thing he sees is this post that says that we're looking for a guitarist, right, that can shred. And so he hits us up, and we're like, yeah, come up to Canada and try out. So he comes and tries out, and like he's just like this weird kid with like long hair that like obviously never came out of his parents' basement and just practiced nonstop. And like we were kind of like, it was like on a whole different. We're in a whole different world, like he didn't even know. We're like, can you play the breakdown? He was like, what's a breakdown? Like
he can't play that slows.
Like he didn't even know, what hardcore or like breakdowns were or anything. So and we were like, this could kind of work, because like that's not what we wanted. We wanted to kind of get out of that. And so like he just knew shred guys, like just solo shred guys, So he tries out, and we're like, whoa, like we're freaking out, but like we're not showing it, just like, and we're like, yeah, man, like we got a lot of guys to try out. We'll hit you up, see you, like. And he came all the way up from New York, like it was like a 7 hour drive. Yeah. And just to try out. So he tries out and leaves, right? And he gets in his car, and I always tell this story like it was yesterday. It was like in slow motion, like I wrote, because I had a pick, and I took it might have even been his pick that he left there, and I took a Sharpie and I wrote "See you soon" on the pick. So as he's driving away, like he's waving to me, and I go, hey, and I flip him the pick, and he catches it as he's driving away.
As he's driving
and he opens his hand, and it says "See you soon," and he looks up at me, and I wink at him, and he leaves, and that was how Sean joined the band.
I just got chilled a little bit. I couldn't imagine how he felt. That's insanity.
Yeah. And then so he leaves, and then he came up and then joined the band right away, and then I think that like the first, this was like 2005. We took A Day to Remember on their first tour, and went out for like, I don't know, 4 months or something on a tour with him, and yeah, it was wild.
That's awesome. Do you know if he still has the pick?
Well, so that's the legend. I have it somewhere, because like he brought it back to me, and I have it somewhere at my house. Yeah. And I know I have it in my stuff, but like I gotta find it. But
a real needle in a haystack for sure.
Yeah, I have the "See You Soon" pick somewhere, and I gotta find it, but I know I have it.
That's that's a piece right there, man. Yeah. Jesus. Well, we all know the song that you guys have that everyone's obsessed with, Mike Skills. Like there's a bunch of songs, but Mike Skills is definitely the one that people just lose their mind over. What about that song do you think grabs people so hard?
I don't know. That's another thing that started as a joke. Like, so what happened was we were in the studio, and at the time, like it wasn't like you need this many songs. It was like you need this many minutes for the record. And so we finished all our songs. We're like, we don't even have any. And our manager calls us and he was like, yo, you're missing like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes on the record. And we're like, well,
we're tapped.
We're like, we don't have any other songs. Like we did them all. And he's like, well, you got to come up with something. Like, this is what you guys signed for, a record this long and whatever. So we're just like, let's just freestyle something in the studio. So, and this is Mike Skills 1. So we just like laid down a track, and I started just freestyling stuff. And then like at the end we had this big breakdown, and we're like, what are we gonna do with the breakdown? We're like, and it was all just jokes in the studio, like dude. And we were gonna put like, so I was like, just sing the alphabet, like just do A, B, C, D, and we're like, so Hugh, the singer at the time, that sings the alphabet but screams it, and then we like, it just went lower and lower and lower, and then like at the end we were like, let's put this as like as a like kind of like a surprise track at the end, you know, like where it kind of, there's time and then it comes on, like, and people, you know, like, and so people laugh and it's like a funny song. But like after we were done, we were like, this is too good, like let's just put it straight in the middle of the album. And then like, so like, and then like it was kind of like a curse, because like we never practiced it. We only freestyled it and did it on this record, and never thought like we would ever play this live. And then we went out on tour, and everyone was chanting Mike Skills, and it like, as like we would leave and people like Mike Skills, like as an encore. So we're like we got to learn this song. And at that time we were on tour with Devil Wears Prada, and they were like super fans of our band. And so they knew how to play Mike Skills, and like they started playing it like before we even played it. They played it like, I think one time like we didn't show up because our bus broke down, and they ended up playing it. And then we were like, whoa, like, and there was YouTube videos coming out of them playing it. So then it started as like they would get on stage and play it, and I would sing it, and then we kind of learned it, and then it just became like our encore song. And then so when we did another record, we didn't put it on the record, but we ended up doing a Mike Skills 2, and it just became like our most popular song for some reason, and it was just a joke. And then in the second one we did numbers instead of letters at the end, and we just put in all kinds of references from like 80s like TV shows and movies and video games and stuff like that. And then yeah, it was kind of like funny, but then it became serious. But like it was kind of funny for us, because like you'd be at the time, like hardcore was like people's lives. Like it was like, you know, now you think back of it and you kind of laugh, like as if like everything we did was like to like straighten our black hair and get it like, and it was like our whole life and everything. And then we're playing these songs, and you're in the pit, and you're putting out the mic, and kids are like screaming back to you like the alphabet or like numbers, you know. And like you think of it now, you're like, that's crazy, it's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, but like at that time it was like, this is so good.
With this show going on, is there a difference in preparation that you can tell, or everything getting set up from the last show you played to this one?
Yeah, a lot different. Like I haven't even practiced. I mean, I haven't even met two of the guys in the band. Like,
yeah.
We basically, so our drummer Slater, he works for Apple now, and he's like a manager high up, and he can't come out to like, he can't just leave anymore. So we were like, okay, we better get like, he's still kind of involved,
yeah,
and he's gonna help us write and everything, and like maybe he might do a few shows in the future if like,
hopefully, yeah,
if it happens. But so we were just like, we better get someone that we know we can count on if like someone hits us up, like, you know, if he can't do it, we need like a backup, you know. Yeah. So, and then we actually like had another drummer, Sonny, who did a tour with us, And I kind of wanted him to be the drummer because like he already toured with us and I knew him and everything. But the thing is, because I'm from Canada, and like it's just hard getting into the States, and it's just a hassle, like paperwork and all this stuff, like even getting paid, and like I'm not supposed to even be here, so like we were just like, let's get maybe, because like Sean's in LA now, he was from New York, so and we're like, let's just get someone in, let's get 2 other guys in LA, and so and then Sam, who was our guitarist as well, who like he just blew up, and like
golly, man.
Yeah, like what happened was he like during COVID he only had like maybe 5,000 followers on Instagram, and he was just doing like
those vocal warm-ups every day.
Yeah, he was just doing like little covers.
Yeah.
And what happened was Justin Bieber somehow saw, he did a Sia cover. Justin Bieber saw it, texted Sia and was like, check this guy out. She reposted it. The next day he had 1 million followers. Now he's up to like, I don't know, like 3-4 million.
Yeah, it's insane. He played like in front of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, he played for the Queen. He actually played in Queen, like as the singer of Queen. Like
yeah, it's like
So he's been on like all these like it was kind of like overnight.
Yeah.
Like when like you get on a talk show and like boom, like and he's kind of like, basically he's like riffraff, I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
Yeah.
That's Sam right now. Like I'll like tag him and stuff, and like he'll just read it and not answer. I'll message him and like he doesn't answer anymore. And it's kind of a funny story because he was actually like a super fan of our band. Like when I met Sam, it all started like he was a kid. Like we were in the UK on our first UK tour, I think, and he was like probably like 15 years old, and like he was wearing a Striper shirt, which is like one of my like favorite bands when I was a kid. And I saw him in the crowd, and I picked him out, and after I was like, yo, like where'd you get that shirt? And we kind of clicked, and then he was telling me like that we were like his favorite band and all this, and so we came back to the UK a few years later, and he got on a show. He somehow got on to open for us with his band, and it was kind of like a band that sounded like our band, and like I was like, whoa, this kid's pretty good. And like I think like a few years after that he got on another show, and then like we talked to our manager and we're like, yo, like when we go next UK tour, we want this band on the tour with us because they're really good, yeah. So, and then at the time we were about to tour UK, and our guitarist was having a baby, so we were like, dude, you can't like have a baby and just leave on tour. Like you got to be there for your kid, and these are the moments that you can't like miss, and you'll be writing a song about it later on, if you miss all this. So he was like, yeah, it's true, like, and so we're like, we'll find another guitarist. And it just clicked to me. I was like, because this guy Sam was playing guitar and singing in his band, so I was like he could play guitar and do backups and sing, because he's a really good singer. So we hit him up, and he was like freaking out, like, yeah, for sure, like I can do that. And so he played his set. They were the first band, and then there was like, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 other bands, and then he played with us. So, and then after that UK tour, we had a US tour lined up. So we went straight to the US, and we liked him so much. We're like, yo, come with us. Like he's still doing baby stuff, like our guitarist was, and we're like, let's just keep rolling with this. And so he came with us, and he had so many good ideas. He was bringing stuff to the table that we were recording our last album, Feel the Power, and so we're like, dude, come with us and record with us. So when we recorded, like he did so many of the like backups and the harmonies and everything, and it was like literally like we couldn't believe it. He'd get in the booth and it was like one take every time, and we're like, whoa, like this one take and it's perfect. Like I couldn't believe it, and so then when Tony left, like we put out the record, and like his wife was like, it's me or the band, and like he left, like I don't even know, it was like right when we released the record. And we were like, we had like a tour lined up and everything, and like we were like, what are we gonna do? And so we're looking for singers, and then I was just like, whoa, like we have a singer, like, but it was kind of weird because he played guitar and sang, and it was like we weren't sure if he like can get that energy like without his guitar. It was kind of like, you know, when you see like Lil Wayne play guitar, like when you see like a black guy play guitar, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It is. You know?
Yeah.
I got in trouble in Japan for saying something. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah.
So, I always get in trouble. So no, but you know what I mean. Like not because he's black, but it's just like as a rapper, you don't see a rapper play guitar. You know, and we saw like Sam was always had a guitar in front of him. And we're like, it's gonna be weird seeing him just with a mic, and it was kind of weird like for us all because like we'd never seen that before. And Tony wasn't the best singer, but he was a showman, and that's why I picked him. Like when we were looking for a singer, and we got the video from Tony, we got a lot of videos from guys that could sing well, and then Tony sent a video and he did a backflip, and I was like, that's the guy, and everyone was like, dude, like this guy can sing better. I'm like, no, this guy can do backflips. That's who I want to be the singer. So we got Sam in the band, and then like he was a way better singer than Tony, but live and as on like doing what he does now, it's great. Like you know the for the music that he's doing now, but for like the hardcore kind of stuff, it wasn't as energetic and everything as Tony. So it was kind of weird, and like the fans, like we had just put out this record with, you know, Tony's face on the videos and Tony's voice on the album, and then like boom, we show up with like someone else, and everyone was just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Like especially in Japan and like in Europe, like where like the singer's really like the face of the band. So when you lose that singer, it's kind of like a lot of the booking and everything, we're kind of like discouraged and like, I don't know if we're gonna get as many, you know, a good as response. Like they were like telling us, you should have like recorded your last record with Sam, done the videos with Sam. That way when it, you know, when people see him on the videos, they'll be like, oh wow, this guy's good, I'm gonna come see him. You know, it was more like, oh, Tony's not there anymore, I don't know if I want to go see them, you know. So that's what happened with Sam. And I don't know. Next question.
I've never been to Warped Tour. We kind of talked about that. I was going to go to Warped Tour one year. I was going. But then my ride ran over a guy on a bike.
I ran over a guy on a bike once.
Yeah?
Dude, it's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you about it?
Absolutely.
So I was like, I don't know. I had a...
Well, first, is this incriminating? Do we need
I don't know. I don't know yet.
We'll see the details. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the guy, but I definitely messed him up. Like, so I was doing construction. I was like a teenager, and I had a Chevelle, and I just waxed it up. It was like Friday after work, and I just got a new hood scoop, like a cowl induction hood scoop, and I just washed my car. Me and my friend, we were going to get our paychecks, and we were gonna go out on the town in my Chevelle, and I'm driving to my boss's house, and there's like a curve, and I'm coming off this bridge, and this guy comes from this side of the road and goes to cross the road, but there's like hedges, right? So he's coming down like a mountain from the other side. He crosses through someone's house, he goes through their driveway, and there's hedges, and he just comes flying out through the hedges, and I hit him, like, and it's so weird. Like hitting a car is one thing, but hitting a body and feeling like doo doo, and then like seeing him fly. He flew like 30 feet, and I slammed on the brakes, and he went through the windshield. Like his head went through the windshield, so all the glass fell on us. And there was on the dash, there was a huge smash, like a round smash on the dash. I slammed on the brakes, and he flew about 30 feet. And me and my friend are just like, there's like blood all over and he's lying like 30 feet away, and there's glass all over us. And like I didn't have a phone back then, and he had a flip phone, and I was like, he's like, I gotta call 911. So calls 911, and they're like telling us what to do, to like walk over, go see him, and they're like, okay, like, is he bleeding? And they're like, okay, like, take your shirt off and wrap it around. And we're like, yeah, but like we weren't doing anything. we're like too scared to touch him, or, and then he like we didn't know we thought he was like dead, and then all of a sudden he like came back to life and like tried to grab me, and like he was like ah! And like he tried to stand up, and he like there was like the blood was squirting out of his leg to the beat of his heart, like it was like and we're like wow, and we're freaking out, and he has his hand up, and his fingers are like bent backwards, like I probably broke every one of his fingers. His arm was like broken, and like we're like freaking out, like so the cops show up, and like so they take him in the ambulance, and then like they're like, okay, you can't drive your car away because obviously it's smashed, so they have to tow my car away, and then the firemen had to come and clean up because there was so much blood on the ground, because like I like cut a main artery on his leg, so there was blood just like squirting out of his leg. So after that, my parents were like, we'll bring you to the hospital to go see the guy to make sure he's okay. And I was like, okay. So like they bring me to the hospital, and I go to the front desk, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here for the guy that got hit on the bike. And they're like, oh, are you his family? And I was like, I'm the guy that hit him. Well, like I was like, he hit me. Like I was just doing my thing, and he hit me. And they're like, you're the one that hit him? And then they started like looking at me like all like as if I was like driving crazy or whatever. I was just like driving, mind my own business. He came out from the hedges, so he technically hit me. And then like, so they take me, they're like, oh, he's in x-rays. He's x-raying his fingers and everything. Anyways, he comes out, and they put him up against a wall. He's like all bandaged up and everything. And like, so I go over to see him, and I'm like, hey, I just want to see if you're okay. And like I feel like I'm like, hey, and he sees me, and he's like, and he's just like screaming and pointing at me, and I was like, so I just like take off.
Get out of here, yeah.
And I don't know if he seemed like he was like handicapped, but like I don't know if like he was handicapped before or if or because I hit him. I don't know, but he was wearing a helmet, so, and he was like an older dude, so like usually like if an older dude's wearing a helmet, you know there's something like a little off. So anyways, that was my experience with hitting a dude on a car. It was crazy.
Oh, wow. Well, with the Warped Tour, how many of them? You said you played just about every one of them, huh?
No. We played. Yeah, no, we played Warped Tour, but like the story that I told you. Well, I actually went to the first Warped Tour.
That's what. Yeah, the first.
I went to the
That's
first
insane.
Warped Tour in '94, and it was crazy because at the time like Warped Tour was really just a skate fest. Like they had a few ramps, and people would go watch people skateboard. And then they had like music on the side, kind of like as an extra, like, you know,
yeah.
This is the event, and like there's a band playing on the
ambient
side. Right?
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had the first Warped Tour, like they had like Cranberries playing, you know, it's like '94. It's crazy.
Wow.
And that's what it was at the beginning. Like the first ones were all just skateboarding, and like, you know, you could go buy shoes and skateboard gear and everything. It was all like more of like it was very skateboard orientated, and then they had like the bands, and then it just kind of developed into what it was like,
yeah.
Just mostly bands, and you know, skateboarding was just kind of like on the side. Like, okay, you can probably, I don't even know if you could buy skateboard stuff anymore at the end, but so yeah, and then like, so as a kid, like Warped Tour for me was like the craziest thing to, like if you got on Warped Tour, is like that was you made it, you know?
Yeah, I remember all the stories and the lore and like just the importance of it, but for some reason every time it came around I was just never available or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like as you get older, like even the last ones, like people were like, you going to Warped Tour? And I was like, nah. Like yeah. I would go, and you go, and it's hot and disgusting and sweaty, and everyone's gross
every
and, like,
time.
But like when you're a kid, like that was like, there was nothing better than that, you know.
Every time the homies came back, they were all as red as lobsters. Some of them were like, I passed out from heat exhaustion, you know, or like someone died.
Well, yeah,
and I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, just going to a show at night in an air-conditioned place is hard enough, and even playing, and then playing these festivals outside in the heat, like especially down south, it's stupid. Like,
Yeah. Good.
actually, the way we got signed was through a festival. Like we were just playing like some local shows, and at the time, like, this is like mid 90s. Like, I was going to this festival called Cornerstone,
Yeah.
and in Illinois,
Yeah.
and I used to drive out there, and I was actually doing a zine back then called Flame Resistant, and I was like the artist. I was doing all the art, and we were interviewing bands and doing like a zine, you know,
Yeah.
physical, like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all done by hand and everything. We'd do pictures in it, and so we would tour in the States and do all the festivals, and we were always doing this festival Cornerstone. It was like huge, and it was like almost a week long, and like there was like 400,000 people there, and like, so it was crazy. And like, so when I was going to it, I noticed that there was these like generator stages that people would set up in the parking lot, and like just kind of around, and they would get local bands to come and play, and you'd get on their stage, give them like a few bucks for gas for their generator, and you could play this festival. So like, you're there playing with these huge bands, but you're just playing like a little generator stage, and there's no top, nothing. It's like you're like dying in the sun, like in the middle of a cornfield, you know. So I talked the guys into doing this. I was like, yo, we got to go to Cornerstone. We could play on like a generator stage. I'm sure we could get on stage, you know. And so we get there, we play a generator stage. We played a few of them. We gave the guys a few bucks, and we drove there in a little van, all tightly packed in there. And we get there, but there was a contest going on, and you put your name in a car, and they pick your name, and whoever got picked could play this like a real stage, you know. So we got picked, and so we played the stage, and right as soon as we got off, there was record labels there, kind of scouting out new bands, right? So this label, Blood and Ink Records, who had a lot of like the hardcore bands that were kind of, it was like a sister label to like Tooth and Nail, kind of at the time. Like it was doing a lot of like the like early 2000 hardcore bands and stuff, and so it was literally like one paper, no like contract. It just said like you owe us like one album, like sign here, and like that was it. Like there was nothing. Like we never even got any money from it. Like,
oh damn!
We were just like, we're getting signed. Like we went off stage, and we put it on a car like backstage and signed it on the hood of a car, and or our van or whatever, and then like we didn't know anything about music industry. We were just like, we're getting signed, and
this is it.
And then we kind of crossed them at like certain festivals that we played, and we're like, hey, yeah. So because they were posting that we had been selling the most records on their label ever since like I think they had like Figure 4, and like there was like guys from Comeback Kid, and like all these bands that, like, for me they were huge bands, and they were saying that we'd been selling. And then we'd cross them at festivals, like, hey, so do we make any money from like sales or anything? And they'd be like, yeah, then they'd be like, here's some merch, like, and you guys can sell this on the road. And like they would give us like CDs and merch from other bands that were on the label. And they'd be like, just set this up at your merch, and you'll make tons of money. But it was all stuff that like was left over from. And we're like, yeah, cool, thanks, and we'd sell a CD here, and then we'd get some Taco Bell with it, and like we never made any money off of it at all, you know. It's just crazy how before, like, now everything's set up where you can do it all yourself, and, you know, like Apple Music and all the iTunes or whatever. Like, I don't even know how, I don't use any of that anyways, but like back then it was like you had no idea what was being sold or what, you know. So it was just like, yeah, I'll sign this, and people think that like I made a lot of money from the band, but like I made nothing I'm in debt because of the band, you know. Like people don't understand that like people would see me in my hometown and like be like, and at the time I was doing construction, like when I was a teenager, and like people would see me in the mall, they'd be like, "Whoa, what are you doing in Chattagee?" like my hometown, you know. And I'd be like, I live here. And they're like, what? Like, they thought I lived in like a mansion in like Hollywood or something. And then like, I'd be like, yeah, no, I live here. And they'd be like, wow, like when I'm older, I want to be just like you. I was like, dude, I just spend like 5 hours under a toilet bowl with like poop flying out of like pipes, like trying to fix a toilet. You know, like it's funny because like a lot of people don't know that like guys in bands, a lot of the like the year, especially the years that we had, like were the worst because we had just we like it was like right at like beginning of 2000 where like CDs, like people just stopped buying CDs, and then right when we finished was kind of when like all this digital stuff started coming back in where you can control it yourself, you know? Yeah. So like we had the worst years, like no one was buying music. So like people were like, yo, you made a lot of money on, you know, on your band. And I'd be like, we didn't made no money on the band. Like I had a regular job, like, and that's when it, like, lucky for me, tattooing was a great alternative because I could plan my own schedule and I could tour when I wanted and come back, and all my clients kind of knew that I was in a band, and like the manager would call us up and be like, hey, you got to go on tour next week, you got to leave for 3 months or 4 months or whatever, you know. So I just like hit up my clients, be like, hey, I'm going on tour, I'll be back like this date, and so it worked out for me, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And but I mean, in terms of making money, like it's crazy. Like there was a lot of money involved. Like, you know, like let's say we go on a tour, like it was just this huge budget that like your manager takes care of, but it's like we were doing big tours at the end. Like we were playing with like Megadeth, Slayer, Judas Priest, like Rammstein, like all these big bands. But I mean, they're the ones making the big money, and they're the ones with the fans that are old enough to still buy music, you know? So like Metallica comes to town, if you're like 40 and over, like 50, like you're going to go to that show, you're going to buy the record. But like our fans that are like 15 to 20, 25, like they're not buying music. They're listening to it on YouTube or like downloading or what, you know,
their
like,
MySpace profile.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't even know the last time, like, and I used to buy music, and like even now I don't even know the last time I bought music, you know. Like it's like you want to listen to a song, go on YouTube, you know. So like there was a lot of money like being made, like, but let's say we're on tour in Europe, and it's like you gotta rent your bus. Your bus is 90,000 euros for the tour. That's like 120 grand, and that's just the bus. And then you got your plane tickets, then you got your food, your hotels, then you got your manager takes a percentage. You got the booking agent takes 20%. You got a lawyer that's making the contracts that takes a percentage. So in the end, like your merch guy is making more money than you are, you know. So like, it's just it's weird to think like that. Like, and now the only way to make money on music now is to tour nonstop because you're just making money on T-shirt sales and on the shows, you know. But like no one's really making money on music anymore. Except for, like I said, those bigger bands that'll have those diehard fans that want the physical record. But I mean, even that. But now it's starting to get better because, like I said, like the Apple Music and all that stuff, like Spotify, I guess, like now that's come back in and people are buying songs on there. I mean, I don't even know how to do that because I'm too old. But I mean, it seems like it's getting better for artists, like. In that way, yeah.
I do these tie-dye shirts. You happen to be wearing one, and it kind of worked out really good because you love Panthers, and I just so happened to have a Panther this time. I only do one image per, like one print, and then I don't go back. And I'm glad that I had a Panther this time. Can you talk about your love for Panthers? Because I heard you have like all of them up there in Montreal.
Well, it just when I was a kid, I had a few of these Panther statues from like the Panther ceramic statues, and I kept them. Like I keep everything. Like you wouldn't even believe the stuff that I have. Like I keep all my clothes. Like my mom kept everything from when I was a kid. My drawings. She's got like bins full of everything. Like she's got like literally like from the day she got pregnant with me, she has everything written down. Like, you know, I went to the doctor this day, and she, like books full of everything written down.
So your life is documented.
Yeah, like since I was born, everything, like my first words, my first everything. She's got like scrapbooks with every drawing, every like birthday card, like everything, like
Man.
bins full of
Yeah.
stuff. And she's kept it on. Like just recently, she gave me those books, and I started reading through. Unfortunately, she has really bad handwriting, and I can't read most of it. But like, it's crazy. Like to read, like I'll read it, and I'll just start crying. Like it's crazy. Like to think that, like at this time, like my mom
42 years ago
was writing like all this stuff down, and like, anyways, so like I just keep everything, and I had like a few panther statues that I had from when I was younger, and then it just kind of like when I bought my house, it just fit. Like I bought a house from the 80s, and I just started getting more panthers, and so the story I told you was like my friend CJ, Daddy's Juice, who's married to my ex-girlfriend Sanya. So they would come visit me sometimes, and like he was like, yo, where are you getting these panthers? And blah, blah. I was like, I'm not telling you. Like, I was like, I got these the spots, and I know where. And I wasn't telling him, and he was like, and just like as a joke, he was like, I'm gonna find some in Vegas when I go back to Vegas, and I was like, dude, you'll never out panther me, and so he like took that to heart, and he was like, you know what, I am gonna out panther him. And so at the time he was living with, because Sanya couldn't get back into. I just realized that was on the whole time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
So he was living in Quebec, but they were finding tons of like. So in the States, I guess like Marketplace has this like an option. I don't know if you knew about this, but you can have everything delivered to you from Marketplace. There's like some sort of option that like Uber drivers or something, I don't know, will pick up and bring it to your house. But he was living in Quebec, so he's just at home spending his wife's money on like like ordering all these panthers. I don't know how many panthers he ordered, but like so many, like, and he wasn't even living there yet. So he gets back to his house, and all his stories are them like unwrapping all these panthers that they had ordered, right? And like I was just like, yo, this is stupid. Like I just said this as a joke, like, but he like started buying all these panthers, and then like, so they came to live with me for about 4 months, like in the winter, and I was on Marketplace, and I seen like there was a guy that said stuff for sale, like, and it was just a bunch of junk like in his garage, and I seen like something in the background, and I was like, yo, what's that in the back? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, take pictures of me for me. So he sends it to me, and it's like it looks like a panther, but it's like fiberglass, like, and I knew exactly what it was straight away. And he's like, oh, I made like a lamp out of it. He put lights in it because it was kind of like a shape of a panther, but like the negative of it. And so he put lights in it, made like this lamp. I was like, yo, I'm gonna come see it. So I drove like, I don't know, like 2 hours to go see it, and it was a panther mold. So, and he had another one. He had one like sitting up one, and he had one like kind of crouching one. So I was like, I'll take both. And then so I took him back. And then when CJ went to like hang out in Germany, and I bought it while he was away, and then like I think Sanya spotted it and was like, yo, is that him? And so then he comes in, and I actually filmed him the whole process of like me telling him that, you know, I was like, dude, like, no matter how many panthers you can buy, you know, if you buy 887 panthers, I'll have 888 panthers. Like, now you can never have more than me because I have the mold, you know. So, but then I tried to make one, and it was actually pretty hard. So I don't know if I'm gonna make 888 panthers, but the option is there. So CJ, if I ever want more panthers than you, I can have it. And I think that's just more the feeling that I can make them, that makes me feel okay with the situation.
Even if it's a wonky panther.
Yeah.
You know, panther's panther.
Exactly.
You know. So you've been tattooing since 1997.
Yeah.
That's wild for me. You've been tattooing most of my life. I'm not
well,
like
most people I tattoo too, like, will ask me that question. They'll be like, "How long you been tattooing?" And I'm like, "How old are you?" And then they'll be like, "I'm born in this year," and I'm like, yeah, it's been a while. Like, a lot of people I tattoo are even younger than that, you know. So
yeah. I just think that's cool. You've seen a lot of changes and got a lot of skills out of tattooing for that long, and from that period of time to this one. You know,
yeah.
I think
I mean, there's definitely like there's a lot of things that I learned that people don't learn now, but then there's also the fact that people now are getting really good super fast.
Yeah.
Because like we didn't have access to everything that people have now. So it's like I'm glad that I went through it and I learned how the way I did. But on the other hand, like it's one of those love-hate things where it's like I hate the new generation of tattoo artists, like just because like they don't know anything, they didn't go through what we did, you know, to like it's like as someone that's been tattooing since the 90s, it's like you have that feeling of like, you know, everything was hard for me and I had to learn how to like I had to like solder our needles. Like after you finish tattooing, you go home and it's not over. You have to make your needles for the next day, you know.
Yeah.
Now it's just like they go to the gym, they print like something out, you know. And it's like, no, we had to hand draw all this, make hand stencils. Like I didn't have a stencil machine, so every stencil I had to, and huge stuff. Like you would draw everything out, make your stencil. The client would show up and they'd be like, "Oh, I wanted it on this side," so you had to redraw everything backwards. Like you couldn't just flip it in a, you know, flip this and on your iPad and then like print it out. So it was like all by hand, and then you had to act. So you redo it the opposite way, and then after that you have to re-stencil the whole thing. So it was just like a lot of like I made my own ink, you know, scrubbing tubes. Like no one even knows what that is anymore. So it was like at the end of the day, it was like our apprentice, or if you know, when I was apprentice, like if you got like, you know, 5-6 people in the shop that did 5 tattoos, and then like and also like it's not like, oh, this cartridge, you had like five like machines set up. So each tattoo you had 5 tubes. So you have like at the end of the day you have hundreds of tubes in your sink that you have to clean for the next day, or you can't tattoo, you know. So it's a lot of those things that like, and no one shared any information about tattooing. Like you couldn't go on the internet and just find out this is how you do this. Go on YouTube, this is how you do that. There was no Instagram, there's no nothing. So like the only way to find out anything you want to know about tattooing was through an apprenticeship and through someone that decided that you were worth telling, you know. So like I did the whole like you want to know how to do this, take this toothbrush and go clean my car with it, and then I'll give you a little information, and then do this, do that, like, and that's how it was. It was like a respect, like you earned it, you know. Nowadays it's like you tell your apprentice to clean the toilet and they're like, yeah, you know, why would I do that, you know? Like why? It's like, why would I give you a percentage to tattoo at your shop? It was like, dude, like get out of here, like don't even, you know, like the mentality is so different nowadays.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
because they don't need anything, like, because back in the day it was like, you want a tattoo, where do you go to a tattoo shop. Now it's like, you want a tattoo, where do you go? Instagram. So you check Instagram, you follow on someone, oh, I like what they do, where are they tattooing, they give the address. Doesn't matter if it's in a shop or in their basement or in a private studio, you know, they'll show up and get tattooed. Whereas before it was like, you needed to be in the shop in order to tattoo, because like there was no other way to do it, you know. It was like, that's where you went. It's the same thing with music. It's like, you know, like the internet kind of made things easier, but also killed a lot of things. Like, cause like it's killing the real shops. Like real shops owned by tattoo artists, where, you know, like, you know, people will still go in and look through books and that whole like street shop vibe. Whereas now it's just like, oh, give me the time and the date, I'll show up, get my tattoo and leave. And you're sitting in like a little private room with your artist and they leave, and then no one's hanging out, no one's drawing with each other anymore. And the same thing with music. It's like, you know, yeah, like you know, you in the internet in a way get like you're able to go out and be like, yeah, I can play a show in Japan because people put it on the internet. But also in the same way, no one's buying my music anymore because it's all on the internet, you know. So it's like they'll just grow into this and think it's normal, and they won't even know that like other things existed before this. And, you know, it's crazy to think how like the world evolves and how things become normal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh no, because
like at some point there won't even be like tattoo shops where people like it, like no one, because no one thinks it's worth, you know, being with like it's just be like, oh, I know how to tattoo, I'm just to do it right here. Why would I pay for, you know, people tell me that, they'll be like, yeah, I'm not gonna, why would I pay for, like give a cut to someone, like I could buy my own paper towels. And I'm like, bro, you like if you don't understand that, then like you shouldn't even be tattooing, like you, but I mean, like honestly, what it is now, it's more like, oh, you got big boobs and like 100,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, here's a pen and go tattoo. You know?
Yeah.
And it works.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna say that they're making the best tattoos, but they're tattooing every day. Whereas like you'll have artists that are good artists. Like I have a few of those guys in my shop that are like, they're good artists. They can draw super well, but they don't have a clientele because they're not active on Instagram. And it's kind of sad because like it goes back to what we were saying, whereas like before it was like, oh, I want a tattoo, I'm gonna go to a tattoo shop, and then you see the guy's stuff and you're like, oh, he's good, I'm gonna get a tattoo. But now it's like, oh, this person's got 100,000 followers on Instagram, they must be good, you know. Oh, they're posting like naked pics, wow, I'm gonna get tattooed by this girl, she's hot, you know. And I've like covered up a lot of tattoos done by like those people, like, and I'm like, whoa, like it's crazy because like I see them posting their work all the time, nonstop. They're always tattooing, but they're putting out crap because their boss is just some business guy that it's like, oh, you know, this person's gonna be able to make a ton of tattoos because they got a lot of followers, you know. So
getting into your tattoo and like how you got into it, we were talking a little bit, so I got to pick up a little bit of information. You started airbrushing. That was like the first.
Yeah, like I was about 15 when I started airbrushing, but like I was all, this guy Fito, he was like, he lived behind my parents, and literally is one of the best in the world, and like he just happened to live behind my parents, and when my friends would go off to the park, I would sit and watch him paint. And he would always be painting like the old Chevy vans with like naked chicks with lasers and wolves, and you know. So he kind of inspired me to get into that. And like I said, my grandmother took me to a garage that was like near her house. But she didn't know, but it was run by the Hells Angels, and I would go and paint bikes for them and stuff. And then they kind of started like that. And then I had a girlfriend at the time, she was getting tattooed, and she was like, whoa, why don't you tattoo me? Like, you're good at art and this and that. And I was like, well, I never really thought about it. And so she bought me a machine for my birthday for Christmas or something. And then I was like, well, I want to get an apprenticeship. And so I started going to different shops, and it was literally like you walk in and you'd be like, hi, and like they would just not even look at you sometimes. They're just like, they were just, you know, they would just walk away, like they wouldn't even answer you. I went to so many to show my drawings, and then finally I got hired as just a drawer, like just to draw, like, because this is like late 90s where like custom stuff was just coming in, like the Flash, there still was Flash, but like a lot of the artists were like Flash artists, right? So like people were starting to ask like, oh, can you do this? And like they'd be like, no, just, it's all these old school guys that have been tattooing for years that were like, no, just choose something off the wall. And then so the owners of the shops were like, hey, we need someone to like, you know, do custom drawing. So like I was hired just to draw. So I would sit there, people would come in, tell me their idea, and I'd be like, well, okay, I'd draw it out. And then the artist would give me like $20 or something. And then they'd tattoo it for like $500. But like at the time I was a kid, so I was just like, yeah, I made $20 to do a drawing, like that's cool, you know. And so it started like that, and then they kind of saw that I was really interested in. I was drawing, and they were like, why don't we teach you how to tattoo? And I was like, well, I bought him, like I have a machine, and I want to learn. So that's how I started. Like I learned from like some guys at the shop that I started drawing at. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I wanted you to tell me a little bit about Fito, just because he was such an inspiration for you, and coincidentally lived behind you. You don't have to go all the way. Just a little
Fito is like he's like a cartoon character. He's like the craziest dude I've ever, like, he's like 50 something, like jacked, like, and he just talks loud, and he's the kind of guy that like you love him, and he's like, he was my like inspiration, like he's like a god to me, you know, but like he's the type of guy that you can't stand for like more like, you know, 10-15 minutes, because he'll just talk blah, 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 blah. Like I can, like I love him, but like he's one of those guys where you're like,
if you're not ready,
he's too much, it's too much, and like, but like it's just because he's so in his like in his world of like he does all the bikes for like all these biker guys, right? So like he's not used to this new generation of like people that get offended by everything. So all his jokes and all the way he talks is all with these old biker dudes that like come to his house, and he doesn't have contact with anyone. Like they drop off his bikes, and he wakes up like around supper time and just paints all night. He just paints in his basement. So he's not with people, you know. So like when he comes out, and he's like, he'll come to my tattoo shop,
socialize,
and he'll just talk about stuff that in front of people that you're just like, whoa, like I don't know if you could say that, like, you know.
Yeah. That feeling. That's,
you know, I say stuff like that. Well, like this guy's like
it got further. It gets worse. Jesus Christ. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad that you lived behind him.
Oh, back to that. So, I'm in Japan, and we're playing with Megadeth, and so we're on stage setting up, and Dave Mustaine's guitar tech is black, and so he's setting up his rig right where I'm gonna play, like, because we're backlining right like in front of Megadeth, right? So we're on the same stage, we're playing before them, and so I start talking to him, and I play bass, and you know that one like South Park episode where like Token, like the black guy,
he's like, why do you assume I have a bass?
Carmen's trying to make a band, and he's like, you'll be the bass player, and he's like, well, how do you know I play bass? He's like, every black guy plays bass, you know. He's like, you probably have one in your basement, and he goes down, and he's like, I did have one in my basement, and he's like, and he knows how to play bass, but like, so what I find funny is like nowadays you can't say, even if it's like a compliment, you know, it's like offensive to people. It's like the whole point is like that black people have more rhythm than white people, and they're better at it, you know. So it's like, and it's true, like when there's a black guy in the band, usually he's either the bassist or drummer, because it's like the rhythm section, you know, and they're just better at it. It's like saying like black guys are better at basketball because their physique is just better than a white person. Like they're just born with like muscles that we don't have. Like you look at a black guy with, you know, like even when we were young, like I remember I had a black friend, like I was like 12 years old, and this guy had like a six pack, and he was like, you know, like he looked like he worked out every day, but we were just kids, you know. And I was like, man, how does he have this body, you know? And it's like, and it's just funny because the stereotypes that are true, but it's just like, it's not a bad thing, you know. So we were talking about, and I was like, oh, you should be the bass tech, and because he was black, you know. And he was laughing about it, and we were laughing about the South Park episode, right? And I guess someone heard and went back and told Dave that I was like making racist like comments to his black guitar tech, right? So, and the thing is, I also had like a Metallica patch on my jacket, and I guess he like saw that and was like pissed, because like, I don't know if you know the whole like Dave Mustaine like Metallica thing, but
I know of something, but
so I don't like know. Well, it's because he kind of like, he was one of the first, like he claims he like started Metallica, but he was like one of the first members and everything, and they kicked him out because he had drug problems and stuff, and he's been like depressed ever since. Like even though he has like a band that's still huge.
Yeah.
Like Metallica is huger. So like,
yeah.
but like I seen like interviews with him like crying, like saying that kids will stop him in the street and point at him and be like, "You're second best," and like he'll start crying.
Oh, damn, that's
so,
fucked up.
So like he got pissed and like, but like this whole time we were in Japan, like we'd be backstage and he never said anything to me. And then like when we got home, I was getting messages like, "Yo, what's going on? You're racist," and all this stuff. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And like, and then it came out like on every metal message board. Like it was in magazines talking about how Dave Mustaine was gonna kick my ass, and like I was like, "What is this?" Like I was making jokes with, and he was he was joking with me, and he was saying that like he was gonna kick my ass because I was being disrespectful to his. And I was just happy he was talking about me because I thought it was funny, right? But then like my publicist was like, "Oh, we gotta put out like," so I put out this thing where I was dating a half black girl, Chelsea back then, the one I did the song about. So, so I was like, "Yo, I'm not racist." I actually had like a brother that like I had like a foster brother at the time. He was black. I was like, "Dude, I got a black brother. I've got a black girlfriend." I was like it was funny because I used to go do karaoke whenever we were in the States, like on tour. We'd find karaoke's, and I guess it came out someone had like filmed this from years back and posted in one of the messages in the threads, because everyone was like, "Yeah, look at this guy. He obviously looks like a racist." Like, and like they're posting pictures of me like in like all kind of like my metal like gear and like. And then like someone posted this video like, "Tyler racist? I don't think so." And it's like me doing like I'm singing like Gangster's Paradise, and I'm like getting like grinded by like these two fat black chicks. They're like, they must have been like 300-400 pounds each, and I'm between them singing like Gangster's Paradise.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. You all made an Oreo.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. Well, I mean, Dave Mustaine will fight you. Period.
Yeah. Oh, he never did. He said he was going to, but
like, bring it, dude.
F you, Dave.
Yeah.
Come at me. Right after Elon and Zuckerberg, maybe me and you should hash it out.
Hoare Mustaine. So you're a man of many projects. That's blatantly obvious. If you look at your Instagram stories, you are always working on something. You have cars, shelves, armrests, obviously music, your solo music, stuff I don't know about. You're buying 16-foot plastic sharks, 15-foot cement horses, 888 panthers. Like,
yeah, it's a problem I have. Like, I mean, I guess it's like, we talked about this the other day. It's kind of like a good problem because, like, I can always sell the stuff that I buy. Like, I have like a compulsive buying issue. But I mean, it's kind of like, I've never done drugs. I've never drank alcohol. I've never smoked cigarettes. I don't eat meat. I don't drink coffee. So I don't have all these vices where like most people would waste their money in, but my problem is I love buying antiques and cars and weird stuff. So like the good thing is I can always sell it if I need the money back, But the problem is also I don't ever want to sell it.
I got a final question. What's Joey up to right now? I don't know what Joey's up to.
I don't know, man. Joey's like toothless.
Oh no.
And I don't know, man. Like he hits me up every now and then, and he wants to come live at my house, and I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like, the thing is like I mean, for people that don't know, Joey was like, he actually, the story is he was a fan of the bands, right? And he was hitting up my drummer to hang out and stuff. And my drummer texted me one day. He was like, "Yo, there's this kid. He talks to me all the time, and his mom is sick, and we should go visit him." She was in the hospital or whatever. So we went to go visit him, and he was like best day of his life. He took pictures with us. He put them on his profile picture, and he had a little studio set up in his basement. So we were like, he was like, yeah, look, I can record you guys, and we were like just messing around. We just jammed and we recorded something, and he started saying that he recorded our band, you know. Yeah. So then his mom died, and he kind of went crazy, and like it's crazy because like when I met Joey, like you won't even believe me. Look at this. So when I met Joey, he was like a good looking dude, like you won't even believe me.
Well, it sounds like
when I met this was Joey's girlfriend.
Oh, I thought you were saying that's him.
No,
I was like, I wouldn't believe you.
That was Joey's girlfriend.
Wow. Yeah, dang.
Well, yeah. So yeah, when I met Joey, he was a completely normal dude, and then his mom died, and he just lost it, and he went to like rehab. He went to like this therapy center. He was there for a long time, and I don't know, he started like doing weird online stuff, like he was like making passports for like the mafia and stuff. I don't know, like, and then he got put in jail, and well, this is all things that like he told me, but I don't even know if it's true. But anyways, he was in this like rehab center. It was far away, and I was the only one that would go visit him. And then like he ended up kind of like, he was asking me if he could move in with me, and then like I was like, no, he can't. Like I had people in every room, and then one of my friends decided that he was gonna go live with his girlfriend, and my other roommate saw Joey and was like, oh, like he just thought he was like that was the only reason why he couldn't move in. He was like, oh, dude, like there's a room now, you can move in. And so he sees me, he's like, dude, like thanks for the room. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he just kind of moved in, and then he stayed with me, and then it was like complete insanity for like almost 2 years. Like did you see the stories before, like just
Safe
that
to say he's not an average Joe.
Yeah. He's not your average.
Did you
Joey.
see the stories of Joey, or just that one like highlight where I go visit him?
Oh, so yeah, I've seen him for. I mean, obviously, I've followed you for quite like 10 years or more, and so I've seen what I've.
I used to take him to the gym and stuff. And,
yeah.
Like we'd go out to get food like at the grocery store after the gym, and he would just buy like cases of Cokes and Pepsis and chocolate.
I remember
milk.
that. Yeah.
And I tried to help him, like, and then he like stole money from me, like.
Oh damn.
He like. At one point, he told me, I bought 5 Bitcoins at like $5,000 each, and he took the money. This is when Bitcoin was down, like, and he took the money and he bought like off some site that was like a fake Bitcoin. So we lost all that money, and then like he had my card number, and he started ordering things online with my card, and he was ordering stuff. Anyways, so he owed me all this money. And then like I kept helping him, and then like he just like at one point like it was too much, and he ended up going into like another kind of rehab thing, and then they place him in a home, but it's like 3 hours away. So like I miss him. Like he's a funny dude, but like, and good stories to make with him. But he's like very like manipulative, and like will make me feel sorry for him, and then I'll help him out. Like I send him money all the time. Like I tell him like I'm never giving you money ever again, Joey, and he'll call me up crying and like I need this for that, and then like he'll say he'll come visit me like Christmas. He begged for me he said, because like his dad died too recently, so he has no one, and his sister like kind of disowned him because he was always like screwing her over, so like he had no family, so like I was the only one, and he would call me up, he'd be like, I want to come spend Christmas with you, but I have no money. And I'd be like, okay, I'll send him the money, and then he wouldn't show up, you know. And I'd be like, Joe, and then he'd like invent like some story why he couldn't come. Like one time it was like during COVID, I sent him money to come, and he was like, dude, I'm on the bus, and they're making everyone close their phones because of COVID. Like they're checking everyone, they're testing everyone, and it's like I'm really scared. I don't know what to do. I have to close my phone. They're forcing me, and then I didn't hear from him for like 5 months, you know. But he just took my money, and And then it would be like he would hit me up and they'd be like, I really need to buy medication for this and that. And then like now I just tell him, I'm like, dude, you want to come visit me? Come visit me. I'll feed you. I'll do whatever. But like I'm not giving you money because like I would send him money and I would just never see him again. So who knows? Like I keep telling him to come visit me, but the thing is like it's like 3 hours away. But like he wants to come live with me again, but he's got a dog, and like I have a dog, and like the house that I live in now, like the floors like are all wood floors, and like my dog's already scratching up the floor. So like 2 dogs together, it would just be like chaos. So like, and but I'm always trying to figure out a way to get Joey back into my life. Like at some point I might even just like buy a camper and put it in my backyard and have him like camp out.
Well, I didn't know about all the not so great stuff. Just some of the stuff I've seen. Seemed like a sweet guy, just down on some luck, maybe some choices and luck. But when you went to his apartment, that first one, and you ripped everything, like just everything was a problem, like I was dying the whole
Well, it's funny because like some people will get mad at me and they'll be like, oh, you're making fun of him. But I'm like, dude, this guy's my brother. Like, I did everything for him. Like, and he knows it. You know? And he even says it in that thing, like that. He's like,
and you're not being malicious.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
it's
like
just
there's problems. Like,
stuff,
bro, you're living in a it's a problem.
Yeah. It's like same. Like I have like my black brother. Same thing. Like he's retarded. Like, and I'll make funny videos with him. And people are like, you're making fun of him or whatever. I'm like, dude, he's my brother. Like, I've grew up with him. Like, and that's what I find funny is like people like even I have a few people that are like slower or whatever that come to my shop and I'll help them out. I'll give them money and I'll film them because everything they do is funny. Like that's why like he would come in and ask me for money all the time, and I would give it to him and he would come back and he would say, I'm gonna pay you on this date, and he would. And like, but he would buy, like one time I gave him money and he went into town on a scooter. He went downtown over a bridge, like you're not supposed to go on a car. Then you drove over this bridge and he came back with a fish. Like he went into like some market, like it was probably like a Chinese market for like a fish, like to eat. Like it was like a big ass fish. Like it looked like a catfish or something, And he called it Mickey Mouse. And he brought it back because he thought it was like a pet, and he got a tank and he put it in his tank, and this tank was like this big and the fish was like this big, and he had this, it was his pet fish, and he called him Mickey Mouse.
Was it alive?
Yeah.
Was that tiger?
Yeah, tiger. Yeah. And like it's funny because like people would always like say, oh, you're making fun of him, because I'd film him say, and I'm like, dude, I'm just filming him. He's saying funny stuff. Like I'm not making fun of him. This is his life, and I gave him a life. Like before he knew me, like he lived in a home, like he had no friends. And I got him, I tattooed his head, and I started taking him like to like karaoke, and he became like a personality. Like everyone knew him because he'd be in all my stories, and he started to love life, and he started going out, and he'd go by and everyone would be like Tiger, and they'd give him stuff, and he became like this like local, like everyone knew him, So like I'm like, dude, like you're sitting there saying I'm making fun of this guy, but like I'm the one dealing with him every day, and I'm feeding him, and I'm giving him money, and I'm giving him this like fun life that he didn't have before. He's in his 60s, and he's funny, and I filmed him saying funny stuff. But it doesn't mean I'm like
you're not making
fun
of
him.
I'm silly.
He's saying all the stuff funny. And it's like, and he died, and he had no family, and when he died, I was the one that was on his and it said thank you to Tyler, and that kind of touched me because it was like like I'm the guy that made fun of him, but I was the guy in the paper for his funeral that said like thank you for being there for me and everything. So it was like it was cool. Like there's so many people that are fast to judge, like oh, you should do this, but it's like, what are you doing? Do you have a bum that comes to your shop every day and you feed him and you give him clothes, and and I have a bunch of guys like that, and I do it all the time, and it comes from my parents, really. Like my parents my parents never had a like real job. Well, my dad was a carpenter, but like ever since I've known like them, like my parents owned a youth center, you know, and so they dealt with like troubled kids and everything. And so my whole life I had foster brothers and sisters, and they would just take in people that had drug problems, alcoholics, and everything. So I grew up around these types of people. So it's like, for me, it was just normal to like have these weird people around, and like people come to the shop, and like even some of my employees back in the day, they'd be like, don't, like, shouldn't be around, like, it's a bad image for the shop. And I'm like, whatever, like I love those kind of people, and most of those people are like real happy people, because they don't know anything else, like they don't know real problems in this world and everything. They're just like happy to be there, and they're happy to, I have this new guy, Julien, like I haven't even posted him yet because I have so much. The first day I met him, I tattooed him. He's like, I want a tattoo. He gave me $8. I tattooed him. And then I got him to tattoo his name on me. He'd been hit like 6 times by a car, and he was like, he's retarded too. And like he became like my best friend. And like he would come to the shop like almost every day, and I'd give him money. He'd go get food. I'd give him money to go do errands for me. So he had like a little job, and like I actually started getting him to tattoo people. It started becoming funny because it was like it became a thing where like people actually wanted like a tattoo by him, but I even thought like once I start posting him, like I think after Tiger died, I was like, this is kind of the same situation, but he's a younger guy and he has a phone. Like Tiger I couldn't get a hold of, and like, he would just come by when he did. This guy's got a phone. He calls me almost every day. He called me yesterday. Like he'll FaceTime me and I'll talk to him, and like they actually moved him further away from like where I live, so sometimes I'll have to go pick him up, but he lives like in another town, so I'll pick him up. He'll come he'll come hang out for like the Saturday or whatever, and like, and we'll get him to go ride. He knows everyone in the town, and he'll go to like the barber shop, and he'll go, and they all kind of give him like a few bucks to go get him a coffee, and they'll give him $5. He'll go get the coffee, but he'll keep the change, and then like this guy will give him $5, and then they'll have enough money to go eat, and like, so and I kind of wanted to maybe even start something with him like that, actually teach him how to tattoo for real. And even if it sucks, like I think that like he's such a cool like character that like once I start posting him online, people will be like, yo, I just want a tattoo by him because he's a funny dude,
the
like
situation,
the situation, just because like and I mean, I like those kind of stories.
No, I do too. It's
literally like my favorite thing to do is like watch like the like those like those like the auditions on America's Got Talent and all those and there's always like the fat kid that like no one you would never think that like that would sing like that or whatever, and it's like, dude, literally like when I saw Blake and you showed me like what he sang, I was like, that can't be like, and that's the stuff I love. Like I literally like like there's this one video of like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like this fat kid, and he goes to like I don't know what it is, like American Idol or whatever, one of those, like, and he's like this big fat kid, and he's like in high school, and like the story behind it, like, they have the story, and he goes with this girl, and she's like a cute girl and like skinny, and like he'll talk about it, and he's super shy, and he's telling him like his story about how this girl at school, like, she always has his back and she watches out for him, and if people pick on him, she'll protect him and everything, and then like he gets on stage, and everyone's just like kind of like, who like, what's this guy gonna sing? And he sings like opera, and it's like crazy, and it comes out, and then the girl sings with him, but the girl's not as good. I mean, she's good, but like this guy's like phenomenal, right? So like, and everyone says like, yeah, it was good, blah blah, and it gets to Simon, and Simon's like, look, like, I don't want to be mean about this, but it's like, you're the talent here. This girl, I feel like she's gonna hold you back if you guys go, as a team, like, because, obviously you're way better. And he's like kind of like feeling bad that he's saying this about his friend, because like she's the one always like kind of like, looking out for him. And then now he's like, I'm gonna cry just saying it. Like,
Yeah.
like every time I watch it, I get chills, and I'm like, because as soon as he says it, he's like, I came with her, I'm leaving with her. You know?
Damn, yeah.
And so he's like, all right, he puts them through, you know.
Oh shit.
And like I don't know, that's the kind of things I love, you know.
Yeah. Everyone real people like to hear those things and see those things happen. That's why like that moment for you, it's like I like seeing when you get to do that for people. You're in the position, put yourself in position to do those things for other people. And I think that's really cool. Like just even you letting, coming and hanging and doing this for me, that's kind of like a one of those things to me.
All right,
almost,
let's end this. I'm about to cry. This
Let's go get food.
Super gay.
I appreciate you.
Be a man. In 5 years, I'm gonna get an email. It's gonna
Where'd you
say,
go?
"Wire me $10,000 if the video comes out." Ask if he's got our Taco Bell. There's all these like little cuts, like why did that happen?
I'll tell you why.
I'm Tyler Hoare.